Hello, my dear students. This is Ratnam, Associate Professor from Government Degree College, Bodh. And this is the continuation of coordination compounds, second year, third semester syllabus. This is the third part of coordination compounds. Up to now, we have discussed the theories of coordination compounds, nomenclature also we call third Werner's theory, and we are in the process of valence bond theory. So in the last session, we discussed what is valence bond theory, what are the major aspects of valence bond theory, and how to understand valence bond theory. And by using valence bond theory, what are the information or inputs that we obtain about the complex. Valence bond theory tells about how a bond is formed. Coordination bond is formed by the overlapping of orbitals. Orbital of metal ion and orbital of ligand. The point is metal ions have vacant orbitals, ligand has filled electron filled orbital. So it is filled orbital, it is vacant orbital. In central metal ion, the vacant orbitals undergo hybridization and they give a specific arrangement of the equal number of hybrid orbitals are formed, and that is always equal to the coordination number, and that vacant hybrid orbital of central metal ion filled orbital of ligand overlap with each other and it forms a covalent bond which is called coordination bond. So 100% covalent bond, that is the major point of valence bond theory, and by using valence bond theory we can calculate the hybridization involved on central metal ion, and based on the hybridization we can calculate the geometry shape of the complex, and we can also calculate number of unpaired electrons, and thus that is decided by the nature of ligand, strong field ligands, weak field ligands. There are two types of ligands. Those strong field ligands always force unpaired electrons, single electrons to pair up. That means wherever single electrons are there, they are paired up by the effect of strong field ligands. If weak field ligands are present, then what happens? They do not pair up. That means they are not capable of pairing the electrons. Therefore, number of unpaired electrons will be more. So in that way, unpaired electrons are calculated. Once we know unpaired electrons, we can also calculate magnetic moment mu by using the formula under root n into n plus 2, where n is the number of unpaired electrons. And based on the hybridization, whether it is D2sp3 or sp3d2 in octahedral complex, we can decide whether it is inner orbital complex or outer orbital complex, IOC, OOC. So these are the major informations that we can obtain by using valence bond theory. Now in this session, we are applying valence bond theory to different examples according to our syllabus. We will check up one by one, and we will see how differently these will explain the properties of complexes. Now, let us take up iron complex in octahedral complex. So this is coordination number 6. So coordination number 6 is okay, having the geometry of octahedral complex, because the shape of octahedral is a unique. Whatever the hybridization, in coordination number 6 we have two types of hybridization, that is D2sp3 and sp3d2, two possibilities, but the shape of the molecule is same, that is octahedral. Let us take iron as the center metal ion, and here in our syllabus it is given two different complexes. You look at the complex first. Both look like same, but there is a change. Both are having central metal ion is iron, ligands are same. 6 cyanides are ligands. Iron is the central metal ion. But the total overall charge on the complex is -4, -3. Both are different. Look at here. It is -4, it is -3. So you try to understand this difference first. And this -3, -4, what does it indicate? There is a difference in the oxidation state of the iron. Oxidation state of iron is different in both the complexes. In the first complex, that is where -4 is the overall charge, it is ferrate hexacyanoferrate 2. That is oxidation number of iron is +2. In the second case, where the overall charge is -3, here the iron is in the oxidation state 3. That is the name of this complex is hexacyanoferrate 3. Here it is hexacyanoferrate 2. So here it is Fe plus 2, this is Fe plus 3. That is the only difference. So how this small difference also makes difference in the properties, whether will there be any difference in the properties? Yes, definitely there are difference in properties. We will examine that by applying valence bond theory. Now look at the configuration of iron first. Iron under normal zero oxidation state, that is neutral, and in ground state. Total atomic number of iron is 26. So up to 3p we need not check because it is anyhow a fixed value. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. Up to that it is a fixed value or gone 18 number. And apart from that, we need to again assign 8 more electrons because up to 3p6 it is 18 organ electron configuration. And when we enter into 3d and 4s, we have 3d6, 4s2. So that is the main thing. Of course, 4s is written in before because its energy is less, and 3d is having a higher energy value. But despite all that, fourth is the last orbit, and 3d is the inner orbit. That's why whenever there is a removal of electrons, when electrons are lost, they are lost from 4s. First 4s orbital electrons are lost, that they are given out, and after that 3d electrons are removed. So here now for neutral iron, this is the configuration 4s to 3d6. That is neutral. Last, let us only consider last configuration, only this part. 4s to 3d6. And 4p anyhow empty, and 4d are anyhow empty. So 3d6, 4s2, 4p, like that. And now look at this. Wherever we write this one, like you see, 4s to 3d6. From that, if you want to consider the iron ion, Fe plus 2 ferrous, Fe plus 3 ferric. So because already in the above two complexes we have Fe plus 2 and Fe plus 3. So first, this is very important to understand because without this we can't go into the details of applying valence bond theory. So iron plus 2 means 2 electrons shall be removed from 4s only because they are outermost electrons. So we have to always remove outermost electrons first. 4s electrons are removed. And if it is Fe plus 3, then what happens? 4s electrons are removed and also 1 electron from 3d. Therefore, what happens? If it is Fe plus 2, then we have 3d6. Whereas if it is Fe plus 3, we have 3d5. Isn't it? So let us take this configuration very carefully. First of all, Fe hexacyano plus 2, Fe plus 2. That means overall charge is -4. Then what happened? You see this. Already just now we are telling that iron plus 2, in iron plus 2, the configuration is 3d6. You see the orbital diagram of Fe plus 2 ion, iron plus 2 ion, 3d, 6 electrons are there in the 3d orbital, 4s is empty, 4p also already empty, 4d we need not write because it is anyhow not necessary in this case. Now what happens? 6 electrons when you write on the 3d, 1 electron first you write on the 5 orbitals, 1 each, and 6th one pairing at the first orbital. Now the question of nature of ligand here comes into picture. Cyanide is a strong ligand. We know cyanide, carbonyl are very strong ligands all the time. Ethylene diamine is also very strong ligand. And ammonium is also strong. In some cases it is not strong, but most of the times it acts as a strong ligand. Here cyanide is without any doubt strong ligand. Then what happens? Strong field ligands always force single electrons to pair. That we know. So these are the single electrons. See, iron plus 2 central metal ion has single electrons here. So what cyanide does, when cyanide approaches iron plus 2 ion, central metal ion, then these single electrons are paired up due to the strong field effect of cyanide ligand. So this is what we should understand carefully. So due to the effect of cyanide ligands, strong field effect of cyanide ligands, these single electrons are paired up. What happens? How many single electrons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 4 out of 4, these 2 can pair up on these 2. So that what happens? We have 3 pairs. Because anyhow we have 3d6. 6 electrons are there in d orbital. So we got 3 pairs. That means all electrons are paired up now. Now what happened? Empty orbitals are available on d orbital 2, 1 s orbital, 3 p orbitals. So what is the hybridization now we can expect? D2sp3. D2 means 3d orbitals. S means 4s orbital. P3 means 4p orbitals. So 2 d orbitals, 1 s orbital, 3, 4p orbitals. Now D2sp3 is the hybridization. Now these are the empty orbitals. Actually, these are empty orbitals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 empty orbitals, they undergo D2sp3 hybridization, and due to this hybridization, what happened? 6 hybrid orbitals are formed, and each cyanide is the ligand. Each cyanide has one electron pair on that means the filled orbital, and it is giving that electrons, that is pair of electrons, into this empty hybrid orbital of iron. You see, this is how electrons are given from ligand to iron. So for that, iron must have empty orbitals, isn't it? So cyanide is giving electrons to this hybrid orbital. So 6 cyanides are giving 6 electron pairs. That means totally 12 electrons are given to iron. Now we understood this very clearly. Now this cross marks here in this orbital, the small cross marks are there. So these cross marks are indication of electron pairs donated by ligands. These arrows are electron pairs already present in the central metal ion. These are electrons given by ligands. Now, let us examine the property. Different properties we know. First of all, hybridization. What is hybridization? We obtained D2sp3 hybridization. Why D2sp3 hybridization? Because it is the effect of strong field ligand. Cyanide is a strong field ligand, therefore electrons are paired up, therefore the hybridization is D2sp3. Because there is availability. If there is no availability, then anyhow 4D involved, but here there is availability is there, therefore D2sp3 hybridization. Now what is the shape of this complex? Once hybridization is known, we know the shape, it is no doubt after the shape geometry. Now the second important is unpaired electrons. How many unpaired electrons are there in the structure? Look at here. Is there any ligands don't give unpaired electrons? So you need not look at the hybridization part. And ligands never give single electrons. So only look at the part which is there already. That means look at the orbitals where already electrons are there. So already electrons are there here, 6 electrons, but all 6 are paired. That means this is a pair, this is a pair, this is a pair. No single electron is present. So unpaired electrons are 0. So n value is 0. Once n value is 0, we can calculate the magnetic moment. What is the magnetic moment? It is also 0 because the formula is under root n into n plus 2. So mu, magnetic moment value, is also 0. Since the magnetic moment is 0 or no unpaired electrons are present, therefore it is diamagnetic in nature. It is diamagnetic, it is given. It is diamagnetic. And is it IOC or OOC? Because it is a strong field ligand, it is inner orbital complex. Why 3D is involved? It is D2sp3. The hybridization, by looking at the hybridization itself, we can tell if it is D2sp3, we simply tell that it is a inner orbital complex. Okay, so this is all about iron complex with 6 cyanides. The name of this ion, this complex is hexacyanoferrate What is that? 2. So that is the only difference. The Roman number is different. That is oxidation number is the only difference between these two. Here iron is in plus 2. Now look at the second complex where iron is in plus 3 oxidation. The oxidation state of iron is plus 3. So now what differences we can expect here? See, the first difference is, look at the orbital diagram of electrons in iron plus 3. Iron plus 3, how many electrons we need to remove? 3 electrons. So 2 from 4s, then 2 electrons are removed from here, and 1 electron is removed from 3d. So how many electrons are now left in the 3d? Only 5 electrons are left in 3d. So that is 5 electrons. Now iron plus 3 in ground state. What is this? The structure is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 5 electrons are there, and s orbital is empty, p orbital is also empty. Now what happens? Look at the nature of the ligand. Now ligand is same, cyanide. Already we know that cyanide is a strong field ligand. Therefore, what does it do? It simply force all the electrons to pair. So what is how many electrons are paired up here? Since it is 5 odd number, therefore 2 electrons can pair up, but the single electron, the third one, you cannot pair because there is no electron available for pairing. Therefore this electron remains as such. So these two are paired up. And what happens after the pairing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 empty orbitals are available. So what is hybridization? Same, D to sp3 hybridization. So hybridization is same. In the previous case also hybridization is same. Here also hybridization is same. But the difference is in the central metal ion, whatever the electrons are there, here two pairs are there, but one single electron is there. So that is the only difference between the previous example and this example. So it has only single electron which is left here. Therefore, D2sp3 hybridization is totally involved by leaving one unpaired electron. So in this T2sp3 orbitals, and here 6 cyanides are giving electron pairs to 6 hybrid orbitals. Similarly, in the previous case, just log. Now look at the properties. Now, what is hybridization? Same, D2sp3. What is the shape of the complex? Octahedral. Anyhow, same octahedral. Now, what is the number of unpaired electrons? Look at this. Number of unpaired electrons are how many? See this. Two are pairs, one is unpaired electron. So number of unpaired electrons is 1. So it is only 1, n value is 1. Once n value is decided, then we can calculate mu, that is magnetic moment. Magnetic moment value becomes equal to mu is equivalent to under root of n into n plus 2. So under root of n into n plus 2 means 1 into 1 plus 2, that is 3. Root 3 is 1.7 bar magnetons. So magnetic moment value is 1.7 bar magnetons. Then whether it is a strong field ligand or weak field, it is strong field ligand. And hybridization is D2sp3. So it is IOC, OOC, it is IOC, inner orbital complex. So what is the difference between these two complexes? The only difference is it is paramagnetic. It's not diamagnetic, it is paramagnetic because it has magnetic moment, it has unpaired electrons, therefore it is paramagnetic in nature. Whereas in the previous case, it was the iron plus 2 is a diamagnetic nature, whereas iron plus 3 is paramagnetic in nature. So magnetic moment and number of unpaired electrons is the only difference between the first example and the second example. Remaining hybridization is same, molecular shape is same, and inner orbital complex both are, and both are strong field ligands. Everything is same except magnetic moment and magnetic property. Now one more example with iron in plus 3 hybridization. Anyhow, but with F6, that is it is having fluoride as the ligand. So the ligand is changed here. Already we know Fe plus 3. So Fe plus 3 ion has the orbital concept like this. 5 electrons are there in 3D. 4s is empty, 4p is empty, 4d is empty. Anyhow we know. Now what happens? Fluoride, the nature of fluoride is weak field ligand. So that is the main difference. Weak field ligand. What happens with respect to weak field ligand? Is it capable of pairing the electrons? No. Weak field ligand cannot pair up the electrons. Therefore, all the single electrons remain as such. So these single electrons do not pair up. So even in the excited state, when fluorides approach iron, these electrons remain as such because this is a weak field ligand. Therefore, hybridization takes place. How? S orbital, 3p orbitals and d orbitals from 4d. Therefore, what happened? It is sp3d2. sp3d2. So the hybridization is sp3d2, where d2 is coming from 4d. So that is a major difference. d2 orbitals are coming from 4d. Now it is sp3d2 hybridization. Now remaining 3d are intact. It is not changed. Now it has all single electrons present, and sp3d2 orbitals are receiving electron pairs from fluoride. Each fluoride ligand is giving electron pairs. All cross marks are electron pairs given by ligands, and these are arrows are electrons already present in the iron plus 3 ion, central metal ion. Now look at the properties. So this is how we have to write the diagrams, orbital diagrams first. After that, we have to calculate the properties. Now, what is the hybridization? Now there is a difference. Here the hybridization is sp3d2. Why it is sp3d2? Because the ligand is weak field ligand. So first of all, we have to mention F minus is a weak field ligand. Since it is weak field ligand, the hybridization is sp3d2. And since d2 d orbitals are from 4d orbitals, therefore it is outer orbital complex. Why? Because d2 are coming from 4d orbital, that's why it is outer orbital complex. And after that, what is the shape? Since the hybridization is sp3d2, the shape is octahedral, shape is same. Now what is the total number of unpaired electrons? Look at this. Since it is weak orbital, weak ligand, all the electrons are unpaired only. So they are not pairing up. Therefore, there are single electrons, total 5. So unpaired electrons are 5. Then what is the nature? It's a paramagnetic in nature. Because even single unpaired electron is present, it is paramagnetic in nature. Now what is the magnetic moment? If you calculate magnetic moment, then under root, here n value is 5. So the formula is under root n into n plus 2. So 5 into 5 plus 2. So 5 into 7, that is 35, root 35. It is approximately some 5.9 or something like that. So some rough value, Bohr magnetons. So these are the properties. sp3d2 hybridization, parietal shape, 5 unpaired electrons, 5.89 some magnetic moment. It is paramagnetic in nature. It is weak field ligand. Fluoride is weak field ligand. Therefore, it is a outer orbital complex. So this is how we should understand and measure all the properties of complex by using valence bond theory. Look at another octahedral complex. This is cobalt. Cobalt, let us take two different uh, complexes with regard to cobalt. Look at here. Cobalt is in +3 oxidation state. Here, these are the two complexes. This is cobalt with amine as the ligand. Here, cobalt with fluoride as the ligand. Now, this is hexamine cobalt 3 because oxidation number is 3. This is hexafluorocobalt 3 but cobaltate, it is because it is a negatively charged ion. So hexafluorocobaltate 3 ion. Oxidation number is same for both the cobalt. What is the difference? Only ligands are different. Here amine is the ligand which is strong. Here fluoride is the ligand which is weak. So first of all, you have to understand very carefully what is the difference and what are the major features of the complex. Whenever you look at the complex, first look at the central metal ion, what is the oxidation number, then what is the ligand, nature of the ligand. After that, we decide other thing. Now cobalt, what is the atomic number of cobalt? 27. Then 4s2dd7, 27. And cobalt oxidation number here is +3. How to calculate oxidation number? But we need to understand it simply. Always to calculate oxidation number, look at this charge on the ligand plus oxidation number is taken as x. Charge value plus x is equivalent to this value. That is the total charge on the complex. Here it is amine charge is 0. Its value is oxidation number of cobalt is taken x. X plus 0 is equal to 3. Plus 3 again. So x plus 0 is equal to 3 means x is equal to 3. That is plus 3. So cobalt oxidation number is plus 3. Similarly here also charge here 6 fluorides is minus 6. This is x taken as x cobalt value. So minus 6 plus x is equal to minus 3. Minus 6 and x minus 6 is equal to minus 3. Therefore what happens, x is equal to 3 minus 3 plus 6. When 6 goes on the right side, then it becomes 6 minus 3. Therefore cobalt x value becomes equal to plus 3 again. Cobalt has plus 3 oxidation state. In both the cases oxidation number is same. So how electrons are removed? 4s2 3d7 is the configuration for cobalt. From that 4s2 electrons are removed and 3d 1 electron is removed. So what is the remaining balance? 3d6 is the remaining balance when cobalt plus 3 ion. So here look at this. Orbital diagram of cobalt plus 3 ion has 3d6 configuration. That is 2 electrons, that is one electron is taken up here and after that 1 electron is paired up. So this is 3d6. 4s anyhow empty, vacant, and 4p also vacant and 4d also vacant. It's not written but vacant anyhow. Now this is the cobalt plus 3 ion configuration orbital diagram. Here for this complex it is same. For this complex also it is same. This is same. You see here 3d6, 4s0, 4p. Now what happens after when ligand is approaching? First case, since the ligand is a strong ligand, amine is a strong ligand here. It is a strong field ligand, so it generates a strong field. And due to the strong field ligand effect, what happens? Unpaired electrons are paired up. That is what is happening. So the single electrons are paired up. Then what happens? You see, due to the amine strong field, this thing two single electrons are paired up here. So all electrons are paired up here. So these two orbitals became vacant, empty now. S is already vacant, 3p are already vacant. So now what is the hybridization? D2sp3. So D2sp3. So D2sp3 is the hybridization. Then what happens? 6 amines come and give electrons to hybrid orbitals. So D2sp3 is hybridization. Electrons are given. What is the remaining electrons here? All are electrons are paired up here. Okay. Now let us understand the properties of this complex. First, ligand nature. What is the ligand nature? Strong field ligand. Amine is the strong field ligand. This amine is the strong field ligand. And since it is strong field ligand, what happens? What is hybridization? D2sp3. D2sp3. D2 means 3D. So is it outer orbital complex or inner orbital complex? It is inner orbital complex because 3D orbitals are used. Inner orbital complex. D2sp3 hybridization, inner orbital complex, strong field ligand. Now, number of unpaired electrons, how many? Look at this. Is there any unpaired electron? No. All electrons are paired up. So, number of unpaired electrons are 0. N is equal to 0. Therefore, what is the magnetic moment? Mu value is also equal to 0. Therefore, is it paramagnetic or diamagnetic? It is diamagnetic. It has no magnetic property. Isn't it? Is it IOC, OOC? It is IOC, inner orbital complex. So, all the features we have covered. Cobalt amine complex, that is hexamine cobalt 3 complex is a D2sp3 hybridization, octahedral shape, inner orbital complex, strong field ligand, and number of unpaired electrons are 0, and magnetic moment value 0, and it is a diamagnetic complex. So these are the characteristics of properties of this particular complex. Now look at the other complex. Here central metal ion is same, but only fluoride, that is ligand, is changed. Now what is fluoride nature? Already we know that halides are weak field ligands. Now what happens with respect to weak field ligand? Now because of this weak field ligand F6 minus 3, here cobalt plus 3 configuration is same, already we know 3d6. 3d orbital is having 6 electrons, and 4s is empty, 4p is empty, 4d is anyhow empty. But since fluoride is a weak field ligand, will it electrons are paired up or not? No, electrons do not pair up here because this fluoride cannot force or is incapable of pairing this electron. Therefore, 3d configuration is as such, it does not change. Now, where it takes the empty orbital from 4d. So the hybridization is sp3 d2. So that is sp3 d2 is the hybridization. 4s orbital, 4p orbitals, and 4d orbitals. Now this is sp3d2 hybridization, and after hybridization, fluoride gives electrons to the hybrid orbitals. So this is that part. Now let us look at the properties. This is how we have to write the diagram. What is the nature of the ligand first? Fluoride, weak field ligand. Fluoride is a weak field ligand. So what is hybridization now? sp3d2 is the hybridization. Whether is it inner orbital complex or outer orbital complex? Since 4d orbitals are involved, it is outer orbital complex. And number of unpaired electrons. How many number of unpaired electrons are there? Look at this 3d. Here 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 unpaired electrons are present. So n is equal to 4. So n value is 4. That means what is the magnetic moment? Mu is equal to under root 4 into 4 plus 2. That is under root 4 into 6. That is under root 24. That is roughly it is 4.9 some Bohr magnetons. So what is the magnetic property? It is a paramagnetic molecule, paramagnetic complex. And due to this, we can say it is outer orbital complex, paramagnetic in nature, sp3d2 is hybridization, octahedral shape, and weak field ligand, and number of unpaired electrons are 4. So this is how we can understand very easily by using valence bond theory. So whatever we are explaining is based on the ligand nature. This is a very important aspect. Based on that, we can find the difference here, because we can see very clearly that cobalt is same on both the ligand, both the complexes, but it is the ligand which is making difference, and it has magnetic property which is paramagnetic in nature, but whereas the first one is diamagnetic, it doesn't have any magnetic property. So all that difference is only because of difference in the ligand, not in the difference in the complex, that is in the metal ion. So this is the what a wonderful explanation given by valence bond theory. Yeah. This already we have explained this, how cobalt is forming complex with the amines. Yeah. Now these are some examples what we have covered under this octahedral complex. These are some examples of octahedral complexes: iron complexes, 3 iron complexes, and 2 cobalt complexes. We have discussed. Now look at the tetrahedral nature of the complexes. Tetrahedral nature of the complexes. Okay. So before we start this tetrahedral nature of the complexes, we will continue this in the next session.